For me, it doesn't really matter if you call them Dark Oath or Chaos Marauders. They are the entry level to the path to glory, and I'm very happy with the new miniatures that were released today. I assume here are some like-minded people who will also use them in the Age of Sigmar, and while I like to keep the theme of a warband clean, I also needed a leader. A big, mean, possibly smelly Chaos Viking that functions as a Chaos Lord or exalted hero for my slaves to darkness. And I choose Raduka the Wolf for that because he looks very arrogant and pelty to begin with, which is perfect for an aspiring champion of Chaos. After I very unceremoniously cut him out of his runner, I had to change the blade of my hobby knife. Safety first. And after it landed very safe somewhere in my room, I cut away all the sprue residues and aligned the parts I thought I could use for this build. The first improvement was to get rid of his Ushanka wearing hat. Unfortunately, this will create a large gap between his chest and the wolf's pelt, but that's a problem for later. Now I cut away the rod on his arm and the sword-wielding hand, cleaned it and glued the frame of the miniature together. But now the later problem becomes the now problem. So I grabbed a little bit of green stuff and placed it on set place to get rid of the huge gap. I tri-fitted it a couple of times to see how much I needed. But as I eyeballed it very perfectly on the first try, I could go on with sculpting a little. I tried to match the shape of the miniature, like leaving a little bit of room to the neck, and I also started creating a little bit of fur. But then I had the idea that I could place a chain in the fur resembling green stuff to be able to have something strapped to his back in the not so distant future. And when it sit roughly in a place that I liked, I went on with gluing the front part of that wolf to the torso and sculpted a little bit of fur that was still visible. When that was to my liking as well, I took a Chaos Warrior's Hellbard holding arm and removed the arm. Or the Hellbard. I guess that depends on the point of view. But then I cut the Hellbard a little bit shorter until it roughly resembled an axe. I also cut away the pommel of the Hellbard as I'm going to need it again later. I used a little bit of green stuff so that the hand would not just stick to that biggest of cuffs, glued the now axe-wielding hand onto it with the help of a little bit of super glue, added the old pommel to the new weapon, thought something looked strange here, and removed the spike on top of the now axe. Now onto the strange method of marking the middle of this miniature to have an anchor point for the upcoming steps. I wanted him to have two trophy racks that stuck out from underneath his pelt, so I drilled some holes into his pelt, first with a hand drill to mark the areas and then with a powered one. By the way, are you a more Dark Oath or a more Marauder type of person? The new ones or the classic ones? The trophy racks themselves come from the Chaos Chariot kit and they got the same treatment as I want to pin these ones. So after I brushed away the drill dust, I skinned Clippy, cut him into two fitting pieces and wonder again how I get away with saying such things. I used a little bit of green stuff while shoving these pins into the skulls to have a little more stability when I place it onto the pelt. And after that I rotated them to a point that I liked and also thought is realistic. I glued them into place and sculpted some more fur out of green stuff, again using my old hobby knife. Now it was time to give him back his arm, with a little bit of green stuff so I could place it as I liked and went on with this thing. I guess it belongs to a Chaos Knight, the one on the horses. And while I don't even know why I have it as a spare part, as mine are not missing a bit, I might as well use it to cover up his sweatpants, making him look a little more chaotic as well. And now onto the most defining thing, his new hat. And while the old world Chaos Warrior helmets looked the best for this mini in my opinion, I thought I wanted something with a little bit more character. I mean, he's a tribes leader, so why should he look like all the other ones? I found this Puskol Blightlord's helmet, but I had to remove the comedic ears and a little bit of that jawline to chatify him and also to match the more ripped aesthetic of his body. And after that he got the neck out of green stuff and the rest of his body. And when everything was in place, he got the shield of an Ogroid Theridon, which was also the first time I realized how big this miniature actually is, as it looked large but not of proportional large. And after that I glued another sword from a Chaos Chosen kit to his back, because why not? Realized it was a little bit of sprue residue in the way, clipped it off, tried again and placed the chain somewhere under his arm. My initial idea was that the chain holds the shield to his back, but I liked the stance a little bit more. And for his base I tried matching the scenes on the miniature itself with these old stone slabs, so I put a little bit of milliput on the base, rolled it flat with a texture roller, pressed him into it and went on with the painting. I slapped on some various brown tones of dark rust, burnt red and parasite brown, getting brighter the closer I get to the top of the miniature. And for his Chaosy sweatpants I went with a very luxurious dark purple and deep magenta in a 50-50 mix. I used the same mix for the weapon hits and as a base color for his skin tone. After that he got a very healthy amount of Bugman's glow to his chest and face to keep him warm during this cold Nordic nights while pillaging, and a final touch of elfic flesh. And after that it was time to paint the dark armor and the shield with Corvus black and a little bit of neutral grey wet blended in there. For the chainmail and the axe I used dark silver, and for all the golden parts I used a 50-50 mix of rich gold and light bronze. And once that's dry I shaded the pelt with Vallejo's Gamewash black and sepia, the silvery parts with Darkenoff Nightshade to give them a bluish tint, and the golden parts with Reichland Fleshshade to give them a more orangey tint. And while all that dries, I go on with the skulls that got a coat of dark rust and elfic flesh wet blended into each other. And once that's done, I elevated the cuts and scratches on his shield as well as the edges of his armor with wolf grey. And once that's done, I elevated the cuts and scratches on his shield as well as all the. And after that I highlighted the leathers with Parasite Brown and Elfic Flesh and went on with his cute little eyes. To simulate an eye glow I painted the underside edges of the visual slits with turquoise and the eye itself with a 50-50 mix of turquoise and white. And when that was done I roughly edge highlighted the golden trims with light bronze once again. And after that I painted some small stipples on the wolves to indicate fur on the flat areas of the head. And after that I weathered him with burnt red again, gave his base some snow effects and called him done. So, what do you think about this big, mean, probably smelly Chaos Viking? Is he worthy of the Eye of the Gods? I think he will fit excellently into my soon arriving warband, standing out but still looking like a proper Marauder. And while talking about it, I let you know when I KITBASH some of the new ones as well. This also depends on how good this video is doing, so let the algo gods know if you like it or not. hype for the hype gods, and comments for the comment throne. With that said, I'm afraid that's it for today. I hope you were entertained and we are going to see each other in the next one.